Hello everyone, welcome back to Tina Teach. Today's new lesson is going to be about date time, okay? We'll be taking a look at the datetime output, how to make a datetime object, and the method string f time, okay? Or string format time. I read it out very weirdly. Let's continue with the first part of our lesson, which is date, right? Well, more so date and time. It is a module that you can simply import. So you don't have to write any fancy code in Python, and you can just as easily get, the day of any date and the current date and time if your website ever needs it. It's also important because with most websites, its functionality rely on having the correct date and time, right? Similarly, with your computer firmware, if let's say your BIOS doesn't have the correct time, right, the correct time and date, there may be some very weird behavior happening. Okay, so that's when date and time comes into play with website and like Python and all that backend stuff. So first step, obviously, import keyword, import date time, and you assign the output of, a date time logic to a variable. So you can simply print out that variable. Obviously, you can, put this inside of the bracket for the print statement, but assigning it to variable, you make the work a little bit easier, and you can modify the variable very simply, and you can use the variable in different scope, right? Instead of just writing datetime again and again. Now, if you write datetime.now, it refers to the date and the time of now, like the current date and time that you're in, okay? So let's move on to output and format. Once again, we import datetime, obviously, because we need to use the module. I have a variable named output over here, and it is datetime now, okay? Now, since I've assigned both the date and the time to output, and if I just print output, you're going to have the default format of the date and the time. What if you don't want the full thing? You just want a specific part. Let's say the year. You obviously can do that with output.year, and it'll just give you the year 2024, right? And with this method over here, string f time, string format time, it would give you, more control over the format. For example, if the output is Wednesday, by changing the format a little bit, you can just get WED, right? WED, that's the shorthand for Wednesday. And there's a lot of format like that, and it's not just A. A is just one of them, and I'm going to show you what A produces in a little bit. But there are also different formats that you can take, like C, B. There's also a difference between capitalization and no capitalization, okay? So a capitalized A is different from a non-capitalized A, okay? Let's move on to date objects. Now, with this module, you can create objects that has the properties of date and time, whatever date and time that you coded it to. Once again, output datetime.datetime 2024 April 21st. Okay, so we've created our own custom date, and it's not just datetime now, and this becomes the property of an object. And if you print output, right, we will see in a little bit what that looks like. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Datetime also take time and time zone into consideration, but they are optional. So if you don't include them, time's default is 0 and time zone default is none. Okay, now let's move on to this method that we've been talking about, string f time. This, once again, as I've mentioned, formatting date objects into readable text or strings. And I have an example right here with datetime 2025, January 13. Now, this time is different. Instead of capital A, I have capital B. There are also other options for you. Like if you search online, you have like a long list of different letters that you can go for. I have some examples here. So normal D for day of month, right? Y for the full version of the year. So you get like 2024. H for hour, P for AM, PM, Z for time zone, C for century, so on and so forth. So that's like the gist. I just want to give you an example. You can sort of know, oh, like this is what it does. Okay? So that's it for today's lesson. Thank you for tuning in. Our next topic is going to be very exciting, math. So let's start off with importing the date time. I'm just gonna fix my text size right there. X equals to datetime.now, and then we're gonna print this out and see how it is. Okay, let's move on to another variable, which is output. So output equals to datetime is the same thing with X now, and then I'm gonna print it out output.year. Okay, and then print x.month just to see, the different properties, and then print output dot string of time. Okay, we're just gonna go with A first, and then let's create a datetime object. Output equals to datetime.datetime 2024 May 30th. Print output dot string of time. I'm gonna go with B this time. Now I'm just gonna copy and paste a bunch of times so we can have a little demonstration of the different letters and what they do. I'm just going to fix this because I have like a little typo. It's supposed to be string of time. Okay, so let's run this and see how it is. First off, we have datetime.datetime now with X, and it prints the whole thing, date and time. Okay, for output, datetime.datetime now is the same thing, but we're outputting the year, so we only get the year. And month for X, we only get month. And string of time A, we get the day. Okay, so we get Friday. Now, with the custom, date object, as you can see, the time zone and the time is basically 0. It's default because we didn't put in anything. And the different letters, as you can see, is, different outputs for May, AM, the date 0, and Z for time zone, it has nothing because that's the default value, okay? I'm sure it's a very memorable subject for a lot of people in high school. And that's going to be our focus for the next lesson. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Learn today, better tomorrow, and have a wonderful day.